Welcome to the big show.
He could go all the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Let's get ready to rumble!
What's going on, Chris?
Man, what's going on, man? We are live from Press Box Report Studios. And
That's
it
right.
is Wednesday edition of The Rundown. I am your host with the most. I'm Chris Cousins. And as always, with me, my main man, Brian Mincham. It is week 5. We are in and we are ready to recap and get into the second half of the season for the 2A teams. This is the midway point. And for the 3A teams, we get into the meat of that schedule and we start to find out what's what and who wants the belt at the end of the day. Now, we still have 3, Brian, count them. 1, 2, 3, 3 undefeated teams right now in 3A. And after this week, one of those teams will be 4-1. And we'll talk about that later on in the show. But, man, how you doing tonight, man? It's great. Shout out to PFA Nation, and thank you for turning in tonight, man.
Chris, we will see when the cards fall after Saturday. Chris, on the show, we have supposed to have Future Thomas, quarterback for the Rams. I know he's nursing an injury right now, so if he doesn't show, we understand he needs to recover. Mike Anderson joins us, as he said he would this week from last week, and the head coach of the Erie Express will be on the show as well.
Yeah, we got Coach Charles Portman coming on, man. I go way back with him. We're going to get him on here to talk about the Erie Express. They just started their season. They also played against the Pit Bulls a couple weeks ago. We got much more, plus recaps and previews of all next week's action coming up on the 1st. You are watching The Rundown. Time to pay some bills.
Hey, y'all, this is Aaron Sanders, owner of the Flag City Phantoms, and you're watching The Rundown, baby. Let's go.
And we're back. Welcome back to The Rundown, episode 14. We're live on YouTube, as always. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Helps us out. And we're going to be in probably 4th of July. I think we're having a bye week. Is that a bye week for the PFA?
Yes, it is. It always has been.
I think there'll be a best of the Rundown coming out soon.
Yeah.
Best of the Rundown.
We'll do a collab episode. But as always, we want to give a shout out to one of our favorite sponsors at Trinity Trifecta, the official uniform provider of the PFA and all the uniforms you see the teams play in. So shout out again to Trinity Trifecta, uniforms made, built to last. Now, our first guest, if we do got him, Brian, is a Future in the chat room. We got it.
He is not here. I don't know. He hasn't responded to the link, so I'm going to say that he is not going to make it tonight. So we will just reschedule if he doesn't show up. And why don't we go into some power rankings?
Man, let's do it.
The Rundown power rankings are powered by the Interstate Classic I-75 Bowl Series. Mr. Mark Garcia's child there. His little his I-75 Bowl Series that he's created. And we'll start with the 2A, man. Still number 1, Flag City Phantoms are 3-0 in the league and 4-2 overall. And the Wolfpack, they're making some moves, man. They're still chasing a little bit, but this weekend, man, it could really shake things up.
Now that's the thing about it. You know what I'm saying? All this whole time, the Pit Bulls have been put through the gauntlet of the PFA. They have played a total of 4 3A teams. And unfortunately, they have taken 4 tough losses. But now it is their time to shine. It is their time to get into their season of play against the 2A teams in the 2A division. And they take on those Flag City Phantoms coming up this weekend. And boy, I can't wait, because it's been a lot of jaw jacking and smacking about the Pit Bulls and what they can't do and who against they play. And finally, we'll be able to see them play against a 2A, somebody in their division. Let's see what they do against that. So I can't wait. The Wolfpack, as always, like you said, Brian, they're coming up on the rise. They had a little bit of turmoil in the beginning of the season. Like always, we were calling them the stepchild of the PFA. But these last 2 weeks, they have shown proven. They have been battle tested, and they've come together in that locker room. So it's definitely looking like a 3-man race. But as always, Lima's going to be there to spoil somebody's fun. So you can't never leave those guys out of the bunch.
And we'll talk about it later, but is this the week that the Lima Warriors get their first win? They travel to an out-of-league team, the Tri-State Stampede. Longhorns, Tri-State Longhorns. Don't know much about them, but we'll get into that later. And that is your top, your power rankings of the 4 teams. Not much has changed since last week, but overall, you can see their records. Flag City is sitting at 4-2. Wolfpack 4-4. Mio is 2-6, and Lima is 1-4. Now in the 3A, Chris, nothing unusual. Detroit Ravens still 4-0. You got 3 undefeated teams still. Somebody is going to get a loss this weekend. Somebody's going to get a loss.
Somebody is definitely going to get a loss this weekend, okay? All right, we got the top 3 teams with the Ravens, the Rams, and the Gators pushing strong and hard. Unfortunately, like we just said, for Future, he is, out, but I am told they have a stable ready to come back him up and fill in his shoes. So nothing to worry, says BTA. They still are on schedule for the tour. The Sin City Bucks, man, I don't know what to say. Tough loss this past weekend. Was looking for better out of them this season. I know we all were. We expected better out of Sin City. Definitely took some tough losses, especially the one against the Bison. But still in the hunt, still in the middle of the pack. Going to need a lot of things to go their way if they want to climb up the ladder, especially for when playoffs come, to try to get at least a home game.
Glass City is 2-2. I didn't realize that I didn't have that 2-2 on there, but they are 2-2. And they play the Cincinnati Dukes this weekend. 2A National out of the Blue Collar Football League. That's going to be a tough matchup for them. And will they be able to pull it out? Last week they lost to the Bills and almost had a donut, but ended up, I believe, taking a.
Now, I will say this though, Brian. I think since we did that, I do believe that would mean the Michigan Bills would be number 5 because they would own the tiebreaker against Glass City. They just beat them this past weekend. So
you're right. I didn't think about that. So they will be number 5.
So Bills, you're already on. That's why we got Mike coming on supposedly tonight. You're already on my tails. I'm covering for you. Okay?
That's my fault. You're
going to be number 5. You definitely beat Glass City. I was wrong. I lost that pick'em. So we're going to get you in your rightful place where you belong at number 5. And yet still some work for Michigan Bills to do. They got a tough game coming up as well. So yeah, a lot of good football is the meat, like you said, the meat of the schedule for 3A is coming now. And now these teams going to have to bang. And so some of these, especially like we said, some of these undefeateds, these top 3 might be taking some L's this week. So we'll see if the cream rises.
We'll be announcing some more information about the All-Star game. Hopefully, we're in the works of talking about that. We are working on league leaders. I got some of those done. Just bear with me. It takes a lot of work to get all that stuff up and running. And I know Reggie Rogers messaged the chat, the rundown chat, Chris, with red exclamation marks. So I'm sure I know what that means. I'm sure I understand what that means. So Reggie, if you're watching, I hope you are. I will
Reggie,
get it
don't
fixed.
worry.
We'll get you fixed, man. We'll get you caught up. I promise.
Me and Brian have already talked about it. Have already discussed it with Dunk, the situation that was had with the stats. I need people to realize this is something new. Everything is new that we're trying to do for you guys. So yes, it's going to take some time for people to get adjusted, people to get acquainted with what we're trying to do and get acclimated with it. So we do ask you guys to bear with us. Sometimes things like, for instance, this slide, we had a little mistake, but we are always going to correct those mistakes and get them right at the end of the day. So when it comes to the stats, yes, stats are all over the place right now because that's how we're receiving them, okay? So we're trying to build this puzzle and get everybody's stats in and get everybody, because at the end of the day, me and Brian want to give out awards based on merit and based on facts. So we definitely want to make sure that we have you guys' correct information in, okay? Your correct information in, no lie, and we definitely want to give you guys your flowers at the end of this season if you did indeed deserve it. So Reggie and the other players out there, don't worry.
Okay? We'll get it caught up. It takes time, like Chris said, and just FYI, I hand calculated all those stats. So, and I've done it twice. So, staring at the same lines over and over again. But Dave Smith of the Ravens, our hero, is working on something great for us to help us out. So all the teams will be able to enter their own stats, Chris, and their rosters will go on the website, and we can go back and check and look and pull those as needed. So that will hopefully be up once he works the bugs out. He's working the bugs out, and he's got some of the Michigan teams signed up already for it. So, but the teams have to add the stats for the once it goes live, they have to do the stats on their own, and I'll have to go back and add the previous stats. So once we get that done, it's going to be perfect. It's going to run great, and it would be a great help to us as the media team, so we can actually focus on league leaders and a little easier to calculate than trying to look at everything. So, but if it's not this season, it might be late this season, and when it gets done in a couple more weeks, maybe. I don't know how Dave's doing. He'll probably get a hold of me when he's got it ready to go. So if you're watching in the chat, chime in, let us know who you are, and if you have any questions, you want to call in, talk about some football. We have a little bit of time. Our show's not going to run the whole late tonight. The Wednesday special. I am going to my youngest son's graduation this weekend, so that is why it is on Wednesday. We will be back Thursday next week, same time, 7 p.m. on YouTube, back to normal, episode 15. Episode 15. So,
15 episodes.
Man,
we appreciate everybody for liking and subscribing, following, tapping in with us, sharing our posts, liking our posts. Any fan interaction you have given us all this season, we definitely appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. And we keep on supporting us. We got big things, big things to come. The show can only get better. It can't get worse. Trust me.
My mom's calling me during the show, so I'm just gonna
hi, Mom,
hit the red button on her because she'll be like, what? So yeah, well, I'm not sure how our guests are doing, man, but let's just keep rolling. We'll just jump right into some recaps.
Yeah, about to say, let's go ahead and recap since we went over the power rankings, so we can talk about who did what and how it got done.
The Ravens and the Pit Bulls went to Canton for the Canton Classic. And 29-6. It was a tough game. It was a tough game for both of them. The game didn't start until 10 o'clock.
First of all, shout out to the Canton Classic. The TPFL Blue and the PFA came together and put on a great event. I know the Washington Hawks played the Phantoms. Also, the Cleveland Rams. I think they played the Hurricanes.
I think so.
So definitely some good football was played at Walsh Jesuit College in Canton, Ohio, this past Saturday. But like Brian said, the game started late, unfortunately. But the Pit Bulls, I can say, is the first team of the season
to hold the Ravens.
Hold the Ravens
to less than
under
50.
50 points. And that's got to say something. You got to hang your hat on something. And I say that because I was on a live stream during the game. Shout out to the National Players Association who's live streaming the game. I was watching it on there.
Were you at the game? I didn't know you were at the game.
No, I was watching the game on that. National Players rankings was at the game, and I was tapping into his live. He always does the Ravens. He does a wonderful job. Shout out to him. So I was on there, and I made that statement. I said, man, the way this game is looking, I'm like, if the Pit Bulls can keep them under 50, you know what I mean? That's got to be a win in their books. They literally only had 13 players because the Ravens started. Because the game started so late. Right.
They had to go. Some of them had to leave.
Yeah, players had to leave. You know what I'm saying? Because again, this is people have jobs. This is
4-hour drive from Detroit. It's a 4-hour drive.
I know a lot of players as well came from. He has players from different parts of Ohio as well. Had to travel, so they had to leave. So when you play a team with 12 players, number one team in the nation with 12 players, and you can hold that team to under 50 points, you got kudos to the Pit Bull defense. Kudos to the Pit Bulls team, the 12 players who play both ways.
Viking Rider said Pit Bulls defense underrated. They put themselves on the map with this one. They sure did, Viking Rider. Definitely, even though it was a loss, no other team can say that they held the Ravens under 50 points this year. Other than
Brian, no other 3A team. Again, the Pit Bulls are a 2A team who held a 3A team under something that no 3A team has been able to do.
I think the closest was the Bison at was 44 or something.
Yeah, 44. I will give them that. We'll give them that. 44. We call it, almost a 50 ball.
Yeah,
50 ball. We'll live to argue the schematics another day.
Yeah.
But for a 2A team, Brian, like I said, for a 2A team to be able to do that with lack of manpower, you got to hang your hat on something. And they were able to. And if you watch the game in the fourth quarter, they got a sneaky touchdown on them, caught them off guard for a bomb, and almost came back and tried to make a game of it, and ended up driving the ball down and ended up turning it over on downs before they got into the red zone. But they were definitely playing hard, man. So shout out to Jimmy and the Pit Bulls. I can't wait till you guys get into the 2A season. And I say right now, I got them beating the Phantoms Saturday.
Uh-oh. That rocking chair in that room full of smoke's coming for you. I can feel it. We'll get to our picks later on, and we'll see if we can shake the house a little bit, Chris.
Hey, I've already shaken it. You see Mike on my heels.
The Rams
game right here. Another great game. Two battle-tested teams. Motor City Rams, the BTA boys are out here trying to prove a point. Okay? They took on one of the top-tier teams in our league who was in the PFA championship last year and definitely outplayed them. Of course, in this game, there was some calls, some questionable things that happened as far as, we go through this all the time. Unfortunately, Michigan referees, I'm not even going to keep kicking a dead horse, so we'll just leave it at that. But the game was played, and the game was won. So hats off to the Rams for winning that game. Hopefully the Bucks can come up and against the Bills this week and kind of regroup. Both teams need to, jump on that winning train again. So shout out to them.
Definitely. That's going to be a good game this weekend between the Bucks and the Bills, and the Motor City Rams go to Racine to play the Raiders of the GDFL. Wolfpack and Lima, man. What can I say? Wolfpack, like I said, they've been on a roll the last couple of weeks, finally getting their gears going and their wheels rolling and like a well-oiled machine over there. Lima, I don't know, man. They're sticking around just like the Pit Bulls. They're still fighting it out. No matter what the outcome is, they still stay in there, play all 4 quarters of football, and they actually scored a touchdown this week. So I don't know, man. I feel like their first wins could come this weekend.
I'm telling you, them. I watched this game, and granted, both teams are at a standpoint where they had to start making decisions in the locker room, and one team just basically out physical the other, and was more athletic and had more talent. But I will tell you this: the energy that I saw on the sideline from those Lima Warriors. I tell any team right now, if you go into a game against the Lima Warriors and you take them lightly and you take them for granted, they will be a sneaky team on you. Those boys play hard, they play for each other, and they play all 4 quarters. So as Brian said, they were able to put up some points this week. Okay, it only gets better from here. You know,
they have the talent,
playing and gelling together, and they're buying into the old, I won't say the old Lima way, but the new Lima regime built on the old Lima way. It is, I'm going to be with Brian on this one. I do think that this might be their week to actually, snag one for the PFA and some outer league competition.
Definitely, and like I said, they have some good, talented players. Some of those players I'm familiar with because they played for the Fort Wayne Wolverines back in the day. So they have the talent, and they just got to keep their wheels rolling, and they'll get it eventually. They're a young team, like we've said before, very young team. It's a rebuild year for them. It's expected, just like the Pit Bulls. They're a young team. It's a rebuild year, so much to be expected as rough season. Got to take your bumps before you can be to the top of that mountain again.
Got to crawl before you walk, man. Here goes Mike's favorite. Okay, I can't even prelude this with anything, but I'm sorry. I was wrong. GCT, you let me down. You let me down, man.
Hey, at least they didn't get the donut.
I was building. Listen, I'm glad you scored 2 points because you really would have made me really look bad if you didn't score anything. Mike really would have had a whole lot to say. But the fact that they did hold you scoreless on offense is a little bit worse in my case because I bragged about your offense so much last show because you had just had 2 back-to-back games. It looked like everything was clicking. The defense was clicking. I thought you would be able to handle going up against the Mafia. But unfortunately, as the score shows, you did. So
win some, you lose some, Chris. You win some, you lose some. Coach Henderson, he did tell me that he would be on the show coming next week on his show. He was responding back to my comments. Coach Henderson going to be on the show next week from Glass City. Great guy. Shout out to him for his show. There was like 50 people watching. You viewers, only 4 of you watching this show. I'm a little sad and my feelings are a little hurt, Chris. My feelings are a little hurt.
Okay, we're getting it popping either way. But the Bills jump back into the winning category after taking that tough loss to Racine. They go on the road and are able to handle business against. No, they didn't go on the road.
No, yeah, Glass City went to Michigan.
Yeah, they were home. I apologize. So they got some home cooking, and they were able to go ahead and take on Glass City and pull out that victory. So shout out to them again, Bills Mafia. You got a tough test coming up this week, again against Sin City, another team who needs to rebound from a loss as like the Bills just did against Racine. So that will be a tough matchup.
They really don't have a choice. If they don't rebound from this and get a win this week, they're gonna be trying to catch up later in the later in the end of the year.
Yeah, hopefully we can get back into it. This right here. This
and the Hawks.
Also part of the Canton Classic that took place this past weekend. The Washington Hawks are one of the premier teams. Shout out to Curtis, who is the owner and coach of that of said team. One of the premier teams in the TPFL Blue. Took on the one of our perennial 2A teams in the Flag City Phantoms. And it was a nail-biting game. The game went back and forth. Was a low-scoring game at first, 0-0, all the way into started to go into the second and the third quarter, and then some points started to get scored. Stayed 14-14 for the
halftime. Yeah, it was 14-14 at half, wasn't it?
Yeah, stayed 14-14 for the longest until finally in the fourth quarter, Phantoms were able to put a drive together towards the end of the fourth quarter and was able to put 6 points on the board and take that win. So shout out to Garcia and those boys out there. The Phantoms, you have a tough matchup this weekend coming up against the Pit Bulls. This will definitely determine playoff implications. There's no doubt about it.
Definitely for sure. And the Phantoms are led by quarterback Devontae Farmer, who was 7 for 14, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He also had 2 carries for 22 yards. You had Marquise Graham, 11 carries, 62 yards, and a touchdown, and a reception for 10 yards. You had a couple good kick returns that almost went to the house. As we saw that video, he said he was taken to the crib. He almost broke it. He almost
did. He almost broke it.
it.
Shout out to Ground Zero Visual for the highlight. I definitely know him, Jones, player from the Erie Express. I used to be a part of that team as a coach. He's a great guy. He does great work. So shout out to Ground Zero Visuals for the great highlight of the Phantoms Hawks game this past weekend.
And that is our recap for this week. And I think it's just going to be us talking tonight, man. But that's okay. That's okay. We don't mind that.
We don't mind that some days.
Don't mind that. But
okay.
Let's take a short break, and we're going to come back with some Week 5 preview. We'll be right back.
Hey, y'all, this is Aaron Sanders, owner of the Flag City Phantoms, and you're watching Rundown, baby. Let's go.
This PFA matchup preview is sponsored by Community Trifecta, the official uniform provider of the PFA. Check the chat quick. I'm with y'all. Thank you, Takari.
Appreciate that, Mr. Johnson.
Let's see where we're going.
Getting to these Week 5 previews. Week 5, Big 5.
Gotta find them.
PFA. Like I said, we got some big games coming up.
We'll start with the Cincinnati Bucks versus the Michigan Bills. Both teams are 2-2. Michigan Bills are on a 1-win streak. Cincinnati Bucks are on a 1-streak loss. To me, it's an important game, I feel, because both teams are 2-2, and it's all about seeding at this point. We all know that first, second, third, fourth, fifth place doesn't really matter, and it matters for the seeding of the playoffs, who you play in the first round of the playoffs. So, and it's Week 5, so we're getting there. It's almost halfway through the season, man. Who do you got, Chris? Who do you got?
Man, and this game is tough. I just got scolded last week by Mike.
Hey, don't feel pressure. You pick who you want.
Because his defense, showed up. But I ride high with Money Mike and my boys from the Bucks. You know what I mean? And Coach Randy over there. And this is definitely a hard one for me to pick. Now I will say this before I make my choice. Sin City. I know things happened last week that were unfortunate, that were out of your control. I get it. I was a player. I understand it. But don't let what happened last week affect this week. You got to travel, man. You got to show up. You got to show up. If you don't show up for this game, your season, hear me when I say this, your season is in jeopardy. Your chances of making it to that championship game are going to be slim to none. So I need you to forget. I need you to have a DB mindset and forget what happened last week. Forget what happened at the game. Forget what happened with the ref. Forget everything. It is a new week and a new day. And I need you to act like the Bucks of old. I need you to show them why you were in the championship game last year and stood toe-to-toe with the Chargers. I need that from you. I do. Because if you don't travel, it's not going to work. But even with me saying that, home cooking does a body good. And the Bills Mafia is on the road. I'm taking the Bills in a tight game. Have a field goal. Hey, you better have a field goal kicker. You're going to need one day.
I'm not sure exactly what happened during the game, but if it's a ref excuse, I'm not buying it. Don't leave it in the ref's hands. Then you won't have to complain about the refs. And I get it. The refs make bad calls. They all do. We can even get Andy on the phone, and he would say he would admit to making a bad call once in a while. And shout out to our assistant director of referees, Daniel Palmer, for getting married this last week.
Yeah.
Congratulations! He's probably on his honeymoon right now, so hopefully he's enjoying that. And congratulations to him and his wife getting married this weekend. And they got their house too, so they bought a house and got married. So double fun for that, you know. So congratulations to Daniel Palmer. We'll have to get him on the show sometime and catch up with him a little bit. But like I said, I don't know exactly what happened at the game, but I'm over the referee excuse from the teams. I don't care what team it is. It could be the PFA teams. It could be, teams in whatever. But don't leave it up to the refs. And I'm going to have to go with the Bills this weekend. They're on a roll, like you said. The Bucks. I just can't put my eggs on you, man. And all the basket for you. So I'm gonna have to go with the Bills this weekend. So Chris is going with the Bills. I'm going with the Bills.
I got you, man. Like you said, we put a lot of faith in the Bucks in the preseason. They were showing a lot of promise, like the team of old. They just haven't been able to bounce back after some of these hiccups and been taking some tough losses. So I can't put my money on them right now, man. I can't.
Yep. And the next game we have is the Glass City Tigers and the Cincinnati Dukes. This is a tough game, man. The Cincinnati Dukes are out of the BCFL. They won a national championship.
Are they traveling to Cincinnati or Glass? Or are they coming to?
They're going to Glass City.
Ooh, on the road.
So Glass City, I'm gonna go with you this week and keep my fingers crossed that you don't let me down and you don't lose to the Cincinnati Dukes. For one, they're not in our league, and we can't lose to an out-of-league team. We know Commissioner Duncan won't be happy about that, right, Chris?
He won't.
So they're coming to your house, Coach Henderson. You must defend your house, and you can't let those Dukes go away with the win. You got to beat them, send them home back to Cincinnati with their tail between your legs and a loss.
So I'm going to say this. I've watched the Dukes game when they played against the Phantoms. Unfortunately, the Phantoms weren't able to best them. They got a big lead. They weren't able to make a comeback towards the end. The Dukes are a good team, and so is GCT. I think they had played a bad game against the Bills. Could have definitely played better. With that being said, the Dukes still are a national championship. And never do I usually go against our PFA brethren. But if it can stoke a fire under my boys, then so be it. I will gladly take that loss. But if I'm a betting man, I got to go with the Cincinnati Dukes.
All right. Respect, man. Respect. Next game we have is the Lima Warriors travel to Tri-State Longhorns. I say travel. I hope that the Longhorns have a field. I know Aaron mentioned that they had some storms a couple weeks ago in that area, and it kind of messed their field up. So hopefully the Lima Warriors don't have to go down there and be disappointed and not have a game or a field, because we know that sucks when a team travels and that happens. But hopefully they're in communication. I don't know much about the Tri-State Longhorns, but I'm gonna put my faith in Lima this week, and I'm gonna go ahead with Lima that they pull out their first win. It may be close, but I'm gonna go with Lima, and I say they get their first win this week.
Hey, I am definitely with you. I don't know much about the Tri-State Longhorns, but all I do know is that you're playing a PFA team, all right? And you are playing the Lima Warriors, and they are about due a goddamn win. Yes,
Right.
I said it just like that. They are due a goddamn win. So Lima, buckle up, get your backpack, get on the bus, put your seatbelt on, and travel to the game and bring back the dub. All right,
Make
We are
us
behind
proud.
you. I think everybody in the PF, I saw the Flag City even shared and said, "Go Lima." We are behind you, Lima, because you play football with the way it should be played. That's with passion, effort, and determination. So Lima, go get that win this weekend. Bring it back.
Jimmy said the Longhorns are scrappy, but he's got Lima. He has Lima. See, even other teams in the PFA are siding with Lima, and they want Lima to get that first win. So that's what camaraderie is about. And like I said, I'm going with Lima. I don't think Lima's going to let us down this week. I don't think so. Flag City versus the Pit Bulls. Whew, man. This is a tough one.
You know,
this is a tough one. I know where you're
stands on nothing less than pit bull greatness and its success. And where that starts has always, that was a bar, by the way. And where that starts is always up front. And that's where the pit bulls can beat anybody, anywhere, any place. If that line shows up, them big boys that they showed up with against the Bucks, them big boys they showed up with against the Gators when they put up 30, them big boys show up, they will run shot on the Phantoms. You heard me say it. No disrespect to the Phantoms, but respect who the Pit Bulls have played and what they have been doing.
Jimmy cracks me up. He said Flag City by
I'm not
14.
listening to Jimmy this week.
I'm gonna kick him out of the chat.
Jimmy any other time. I tried not to, put my heart on my sleeve when it comes to my pit bull, my boys, but enough is enough. Okay, it's 2A time. It's 2A time. It's time to shine. It's time to get that belt. And it starts with the Flag City Phantoms. We not 0-4. They about to be 1-0.
That's right. That's about to be 1-0.
Stay with my chest.
All
and
those
Garcia,
three.
Don't be jumping in my inbox either.
and all those 3A teams that you played, Jimmy, is just practice. Now you can go and whip all the 2A teams that you're going to face the rest of the season. There should be no excuse.
Listen,
I'm
expecting them, Brian. There is no excuse. You played a gauntlet of a schedule. You've been battle tested. You've been through the worst of it. Now you are at the end of it where you literally only have to beat the Flag City Phantoms. You played, I think you played, am I right? You played Wolfpack again. Am I correct?
Yeah.
You played a Wolfpack again. Those are the teams you need, and you finish the season with the Bills.
They get a break next week. They get a break next week.
Teams, man, hell yeah, I think they should beat them. Hell yeah, I think they should beat them.
And they play the Wolfpack, and then they finish with the Bills, and then it's playoff time. So, and like I said, you're going with the Pit Bulls, and I'm gonna and at risk of us being on a graphic with gravestones around us, Chris.
No.
I'm going with you this week. I'm picking Jimmy and the Pit Bulls.
That's right.
I got faith in you. Even the Lima players are picking the Pit Bulls. Thank you, Viking Rider, for that. And
Jimmy, that's nice.
We know
Jimmy,
Mark's.
That's great. Jimmy, that's great that you want to be nice and you want to say the Flag City is a great team. And I'm going to say it too. They are a great team. But enough is enough.
Hey, Jimmy, they came out flat last week. We know that. Coach Garcia even said it. So you catch him flat.
I'm saying it with my chest right now. Who's guarding Reggie?
Reggie Rogers.
Guarding Reggie.
Let me tell everybody that's watching the show right now. Reggie Rogers from the Pit Bulls has 8 interceptions on the season against all 3A teams.
Who's guarding Reggie? Listen, I respect everybody's team, but you have to respect competition when competition plays against competition. And for a young man of his stature who has gone through the things that this young man has gone through, who has been at the top, at the mountaintop, who has failed all the way to the bottom and has found grace and has bounced back to lead his team not only in interceptions, but interceptions for touchdowns,
Yeah,
for rushing touchdowns, passing touchdowns, receptions. He plays every single position that's need to be. In my consideration right now, he is the MVP, not only of the 2A, but the 3A. Reggie freaking Rogers.
Hey, look, he plays so many positions. He hikes the ball to himself, throws it in the air, runs and catches it. That's how much he's doing for the Pit Bulls.
I'm gonna put my heart away now. I'm gonna put my heart away.
Calm down, Chris. You need to take some decaf. Take some decaf. You're getting animated a little bit. I love it. I love the passion, but we're gonna switch up the slides so you calm down a little bit. And my dogs are fighting. I don't know what. Motor City Rams travel to Racine. I know the Bills held Racine to 21 points, and I know last year Motor City took them down to the wire. And I feel like the Rams, if there's any team that can beat the Raiders, and I hope Don Wadewitz doesn't get, or Jeff Schick doesn't get mad at us for this, it's going to be the Rams this year. I'm going with the Rams. BTA on the Racine Raiders. Mark the tape. If I'm wrong, I will say I'm wrong next week, but I don't think I'm going to be wrong. I think the Motor City Rams are going to come out with the victory. Just remember, Motor City Rams, you're going into hostile territory, and the fans are going to show up for this game, and they're going to talk shit to you and try to get in your head more than the Racine Raider players do. So just ignore it. Focus on the task at hand. Play some damn football. Don't get into it with the fans. You can even ask Mike Anderson for some tips because he even knows how hostile that is. So, but I'm going with the Rams this week. Great organization. Shout out to the coach and Miss Francis for having that team in order over there this year and make us proud. Go over there and get a win against the Racine Raiders because everybody's going to be watching.
I have to use logic on this one. And the logic tells me, like Mike said, I use logic. Bills held them to 21 points. BTA beat the Bills.
BTA also held the Bison to 6 points.
So, Racine, as much as I love to throw your name out there when we talk of great organizations and things, this year, I'm seeing a little wrinkle in the armor. And you're going up against a team right now in BTA who's trying to prove themselves. And I know Future's not going to be there, but like I said, they have a stable of athletes who are ready to step in and fulfill those shoes. So like I said, the BTA tour continues. And they will be one of the first teams out of the PFA to take down the juggernaut of the Racine Raiders. And yes, you heard it here first from me and Brian on the rundown.
Right. Don Wadewitz, I know you're going to watch this again. I'm sure you're going to watch this eventually or see this clip. We love you, boy. You're our boy, but we're picking the Motor City Rams this week to beat the Racine Raiders. And I hope that doesn't mess up Chris and I's chances of coming and hanging out with you in the media box this year and hopefully next year sometime. So it's nothing personal. It's just business, right, Chris?
It's just business. And I call it like I see it. Mike told me to use logic, and that's my logic right there.
Next up, we have this is by the way, this is the 3A game of the week. We didn't talk about this because we kind of been busy this week because of Wednesday show, not Thursday, but this definitely is the 3A game of the week. Two juggernaut powerhouses. One of these teams is going to have a loss at the end of this game, unless it's a tie for some reason. We don't know.
I don't see us leaving this game in a tie, Brian. I don't.
It could go quadruple overtime, and the lights will turn off, and they'll still play until somebody wins. I know.
We're turning car lights on for this one. Okay,
right.
Pull your trucks up, turn your brights on. We're not leaving until there's a winner. All right, because I know the coaching. First of all, we'll start from the top down. Mitch from the Ravens, top down from the Gators, top down. Class act from both organizations. Both are well coached. Okay, even hearing and talking to Coach Wendell from the Gators, well savvy coach, knows what he's talking about, knows how to communicate that to his players, get things done. This is going to come down to who doesn't make mistakes.
And we know
Who doesn't make mistakes and who takes those mistakes and capitalizes on them. And I've seen it all year, and I can't say I haven't seen it all year. And this is something that the Gators haven't seen, but the Ravens have. Yep. The Ravens were down against Indy and fought back. The Ravens have been in close games where teams have tried to overtake them and have still persevered by making those mistakes count. So in this game, I'm going to have to lean towards the Ravens in this game. But yes, it is going to be close. I see a lot of points. I'm not even going to lie. Michigan Gators have a great offense.
I see a lot of points or not a lot of points, and it's going to be another defensive battle game. But I think that it's going to be a good scoring game. And I'm going to have to lean with the Ravens too, man. They haven't, even though last week was an anomaly, and we're just going to there was a bunch of factors at late start, 13 players. Even if you go back to the Bison game, where how they was back and forth and was down and then came back, they haven't proven me wrong all season, and I'm just going to have to go with Coach Sims and the Ravens on this one as well. I take the Ravens as well on this week, and I think the Gators, unfortunately, are going to go 4-1 after this week.
Well, I'm going to say this. I will say this again, like I said it last week. Right now, before the game even starts, Raven players hear me well offensively. Gators defense hear me well. You're not putting up 50. And if you put up 50, I guarantee the Gators won't be far behind.
I know Torrance Webster has 14 touchdown passes through 4 games, so he's definitely a threat. You got several receivers on the Ravens that are multiple touchdown so far this year. And the same with the Gators. You got definitely a good offense, a good defensive group. So it's going to be a battle, man.
Definitely deserves to be our game of the week 3A, no doubt about it. 2 undefeateds in the PFA, been going door to door. You know what I'm saying? Taking names and kicking ass. So can't wait to see how they pair against each other in this matchup. Can't wait to see the game.
And like I said, the Ravens, they have the Gators, the Bills, the Dukes, and the Bucks to finish the season. And the Gators have the Ravens, the Bucks, the Rams, and the Wolfpack to finish the season. So, I mean, that's still a tough schedule for both teams. But one team's got to lose this week, man. The last game of week 5 that we have is the Northern Kentucky Wolfpack, 2-2, take on the Kentucky Pirates out of the MCFL. I believe, yeah, MCFL.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we did see the Pirates play against the Cheetahs. Long live the Cheetahs. And they scored a lot of points. But
definitely did.
I don't know what their record is right now. I think they're 2-0, or there might be 1-1. I don't know what the record is yet, but this could be a good game for the Wolfpack, or this could be a bad game for the Wolfpack. It just
Well, I'm hoping it's a good game for the Wolfpack. They've been on the 2-game winning streak. They're trying to get, like I said, things right in that locker room. They got a lot of players coming back now from arena ball and things of that nature, so they're getting some more talent in there. And I need the Wolfpack to get our lick back. I know the Cheetahs ended up walking into the sunset and didn't finish the season, but when they were around and a part of the PFA this season, the Kentucky Pirates embarrassed them, hands down. And so I need the Wolfpack to go stand up for the PFA. I need you to get that lick back, bro.
And it's a home game, so you can't lose at home, Wolfpack, to an out of league team. So
I need you to get that lick back for us, man. No disrespect to them, but we want to win against when we play outer league competition in the PFA. So Here's your chance to, again, like I say, you dug yourself into the basement. You've been digging yourself out. Here's another scoop to get you right on the platform. You get this one 3-0 the last 3 weeks. Going into, again, you're going to be going also into the toughest part of your season with the 2 ways coming up here the next few weeks. So You need this. You need this win.
Looking at their schedule for the rest of the year, Chris, if they can beat the Pirates, I think FCP's in some trouble, man. Then they have the Elite, and they play the Pit Bulls, and they play the Gators. So minus the Gators, if they win those 3 games, the Phantoms could be in some trouble. So we might have some shaking it up in the 2A here soon, which I like. I like to see the shakeups a little bit,
For sure.
But that is our Week 5 preview, Chris. And Chris is 14-6 on the picks, beating me. I'm 13-7. So last week we were pretty close. I think we, other than the Bills game, I think we were pretty close on picks. So Chris is one win ahead of me up to this week. That's okay.
I'm up.
So next year we're going to get a belt.
Yeah.
A belt. I didn't know they were that expensive. When Commissioner Duncan said they were that expensive, I'm like, yeah, I'm not paying for that. That's a lot, and he buys them for the league. So, yeah, that is our preview for the week. And Chris, it's 5 till 8, so we're gonna have to wrap the show up, guys. Well, to thank our guests that didn't show up, but we appreciate it. Mike Anderson, I hope you're watching this or you'll see this. You're late. You didn't show up to the show after we talked, and I told you what time. Future, I understand you're nursing that injury, buddy. You got to get your bed rest. I hope you get better soon. And Coach from the Erie Express, what happened to him? The train didn't arrive.
Yeah, what happened, Coach Port, man? I thought we was going to get you on, man.
That's right.
We'll touch bases later, Coach, man. He probably has some practices. He coaches high school, too, so he's probably in the middle of some training, too. So we'll let it. Well, I'll charge your mind and not your heart.
Next week, I know we have Coach Henderson wanting to come on, and we'll get some more guests next week. We'll be back on Thursday, 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you to the people that are watching on the live right now. Thank you to the chat, Viking Rider, Neo Pitbulls, which is Jimmy, Tirano, Bolt, Belton, Takari Johnson. Thank you guys for participating in chat and being active. We much appreciate it. It was Chris and I something else to talk about. But for Chris, I'm Brian. We're going to see you next week. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.